A government shutdown could be days away. It's been 5 years since the U.S. declared a COVID emergency, and scientists made a very cute discovery about narwhals. That's some of what we'll get to on The 7 from The Washington Post. I'm Rennie Svirnovsky in for Hannah Jewell. It's Thursday, March 13th. Let's get you caught up with today's 7 stories. Number 1. Canada and the European Union hit back against President Donald Trump's tariffs. Yesterday, the EU and Canada retaliated with levies of their own after Trump imposed tariffs on steel and aluminum. Billions of dollars worth of U.S. products could be affected, including bourbon and motorcycles. The U.S. decision to raise tariffs on all steel and aluminum imports to 25% took effect yesterday morning. It was the latest move in Trump's campaign to reshape America's trading relationship with the world. But the tariffs and their potential impact on rising prices don't seem to be popular with voters. A new CNN poll released yesterday showed that Trump's approval on the economy is worse than it's ever been. And some of Trump's own voters say they are growing impatient for Trump to make good on his campaign promises to fix the economy. The Senate pushed closer to a federal government shutdown. That's number 2. Government funding is set to run out early Saturday morning, and if it does, no one knows what to expect. A Republican bill to avert a shutdown passed the House on Tuesday, but it'll need to overcome a narrow Senate majority to pass, and Democrats are still deciding whether or not to reject it. Democrats are split on the decision. They worry that a shutdown would give the White House broad power to decide what agencies stay open if funding lapses. But they haven't ruled out striking a deal with Republicans to avoid a shutdown by allowing votes on amendments in exchange for their support. So if you're fascinated by deal-making in Congress, it's going to be quite a couple of days. I'll give you the latest shutdown updates tomorrow. Number 3. The Trump administration moved to dismantle dozens of environmental rules. President Joe Biden introduced dozens of climate rules during his term. They touched on issues like electric vehicles, power plants, clean water, and more. Now, Trump's team is seeking to rewrite a lot of them. In a flurry of news releases yesterday, the EPA said it will roll back some of Biden's most consequential climate and environmental regulations. The announcement specifically cited rules aimed at speeding the nation's shift to electric vehicles, slashing planet-warming emissions from power plants, and safeguarding waterways from harmful pollution. Taken together, the announcements suggest that we're about to see a seismic shift in U.S. environmental policy. But it won't be easy. Rewriting many of the rules could take the agency months, or even years. Talk of a ceasefire spurred hope in Ukraine and anger in Russia. That's number 4. Earlier this week, Ukraine agreed to an ambitious ceasefire proposal put together by the Trump administration. Yesterday, Trump gave an update on the talks and said the fate of the ceasefire is in Russia's hands now.
But we had a great success yesterday. We have a full ceasefire. If it kicks in, we have to see. It's up to Russia now. But we've had a good relationship with both parties, actually, and we'll see. We'll be knowing people are going to Russia right now as we speak, and hopefully we can get a ceasefire from Russia. And if we do, I think that would be 80% of the way to getting this horrible bloodbath finished.
Negotiations are expected to be hard. Pro-Kremlin analysts said yesterday that Russia would probably reject the ceasefire, describing it as a trap that would harm Russian interests and benefit Ukraine. Yesterday, the Post revealed a document prepared for the Kremlin that outlines a hardline negotiating stance in peace talks. You can find the link in our newsletter today. Just follow the link in our show notes. Number 5. Experts say COVID may now be an endemic disease. On this day in 2020, Trump declared a national emergency to confront the spread of coronavirus. 5 years on, experts say the disease has become like influenza in terms of the risk of severe illness and death. The coronavirus, which causes COVID, is now less deadly, though it is more transmissible and is expected to keep coming back in waves. Experts say that some of those waves could be severe. What's remained consistent is that older adults, those with certain risk factors, including immune system deficiencies, and unvaccinated people are at greater risk of severe illness and death. Are you going to be able to see tonight's total lunar eclipse? That's number 6. For 65 minutes tonight, the moon will be fully immersed in the darkest part of the Earth's shadow. The entirety of North and Central America should be able to see it, and much of South America. The eclipse will take place as Earth passes between the sun and the moon. That'll block direct sunlight from reaching and illuminating the moon. Instead, before the total eclipse, the only light reaching the lunar disk will be filtered through Earth's atmosphere, turning the moon a light, rusty brownish red. You won't need binoculars to see, or a telescope or special glasses. You can just look up. The eclipse begins at 11:57 p.m. Eastern. Totality starts at 2:26 a.m. The main thing that could spoil the show is if clouds get in the way. You can check your area's cloud forecast in today's newsletter. Number 7. Scientists may have figured out what narwhals use their tusks for. Narwhals are whales with a twist. They're known as the unicorn of the sea because they have these ivory tusks that can spiral up to 10 feet from their heads. And for years, scientists haven't known exactly what these tusks, actually a very long tooth, are for. Well, a new study shows that they appear to use them for play. Researchers in 2022 captured video of narwhals in northern Canada's Nunavut territory chasing fish with the tips of their tusks. Not trying to catch them, but playing a kind of cat and mouse game. The scientists said the findings are a, quote, sign of high intelligence in the unicorns of the sea. And, more importantly, it's also very cute. All right, you're all caught up. Before you go, take a second to sign up for the newsletter version of The 7. It contains links to all the stories we talk about here on the podcast and more. Today, it has that video of the narwhals playing. It is well worth a watch. Find a link to sign up in our show notes, and you can have the 7 morning briefing delivered to your inbox early every weekday. I'm Rennie Svirnovsky. I'll meet you back here tomorrow.